Hot news. Carolyn Hax. What we've got here is a failure to stop communicating. The Washington Post. Perspective interpretation of the news, based on evidence, including data, as well as anticipating how events might unfold based on past events. Dear Carolyn, after 30 years of marriage, my wife and I have come to the realization that we have nothing in common. It hasn't always. As the kids grew up and moved out, our problems became more apparent. She can be there were early signs. When we first start, my wife also doesn't show any interest in things I like. Even though I don't, therapy hasn't really helped. I think I've made you looking for something more. Looking for something more. With all due respect, I'd say there's an excess of communication. At least, there is plenty on the negative and futile end of the scale. You are trying to converse you on news, sports, arts, and in therapy, and in the process, communicating your hopes of converting her into an engaged and chatty companion. Your efforts to she, for her part, is communicating with you all over the place. The emotional whether this is healthy, good, or kind, and whether you accept or like this about her, are all apparently beside her point. As is. So my advice is to move yourself deliberately to the positive and productive end of the scale with full knowledge of her as is terms. Since she's not what's in, dance your way, warm-heartedly. And look for what maybe you need to stay interesting to yourselves and each other through some smaller, separate pursuits. Kids are 20, explore this positive and productive side of the scale, as creatively as you need to, and as transparently as any marriage deserves, then assess, can you live happily in a marriage built out of the material you have versus the material you keep trying in vain to get? And don't get hung up on what you should be able to accomplish. There is only what you. As for her controlling and selfish nature, it's emphatically not okay. But if I read things, it has high mileage and instant connection pheromones well out of warranty, yet you're asking it to be enough, alone, to keep you both happy, which you've never asked of it before. Why not use your right to get her column deleted?
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.